What's going on, everyone? My name's AJ. Welcome to the Adoration podcast. I just wanted to introduce my special guest, who is Michael Nunez. He goes by Mike Nunez to me. He is an occupational therapist in the Santa Clara County. He's a born and raised Eastside San Jose native, a family man, Bay Area sports enthusiast, and probably the number one sports trivia expert that I know in my life. He's not necessarily my blood uncle or my blood cousin. Our dads know each other through the military, and they became very good friends, but I consider him more of an uncle, if not cousin. Nonetheless, still family. And he's one of the most inviting, curious, and empathetic people in my life. So thank you so much, Mike, for hopping on the pod. Do you want to introduce yourself to the people?
Yes, that was a great intro. Thank you. That I don't know what else to add, but I've known AJ since you were a kid, and seen you evolve, and it's very proud to see you grow up and do everything you do. Thanks for having me today.
Thank you for hopping on. And like I said earlier, you're probably one of the most inviting, curious, empathetic, but also patient people. And I just wanted to start off with the topic of inclusivity because you're a little bit older than me. I think that you just said you're
40.
So Mike is 40 years old, and I actually just turned 30 years old. And I grew up with Mike and all of his friends, basically. So when he was 20 going to house parties, I was probably 10 years old. And he always made me feel included. For example, I didn't drink until I was 21. I didn't take a sip of alcohol until I was 21. And a lot of the reason why I became a DJ is because I never really was interested in drinking, but I would always DJ my uncle's parties and they would always turn up and do gosh knows what. But, you know, I had to mature fast, and that lifestyle of drinking and partying became a part of me from 21 to 30. And I'm kind of taking those steps on the podcast now and learning from the guest who really helped molded me and want to learn from them through these discussions and share them with others. So Mike has always made not only me, but I think if you ask anyone in our family or friend group, feel at ease. And a lot of my fondest memories with Mike and our family and friends is just the large parties he's had, whether it's high school, college, or even birthday parties. And that leads into my first question. Where did your inviting nature come from, whether it's family, friends, or just throwing parties and inviting people to a gathering and making them feel so invited?
I think that starts with family parties, right? I honestly, like, actually during the pandemic, I converted all of my parents' old videos and put them on YouTube and just going through them. And I want to say they had 4 or 5 parties a year at their house. And that's on top of parties at other houses. So we're always together, always including everybody in the parties, inviting neighbors, inviting, coworkers. I think it starts there. It started there. And then as I got older, you kind of just carry those traits and traditions. And, just like Filipinos, you come to the house and are you hungry? That's always a big, gathering. I don't know how to say it. Gathering.
I definitely think it is a big gathering topic. There's always an inside joke in Filipino families where it's the first thing they'll ask you when you get there is, did you eat yet? Yeah. And then I've actually had a shirt made that said, I ate already on the front. And then the second inside joke on the back was, when are you leaving? Because they're always like, did you eat yet? And if you're traveling from far away, Filipino people are always like, when are you leaving? It's like, you want me to eat? And then, no, I got to leave. But in all seriousness, Mike and his family have always made everyone feel so included. And I'm probably a product of that. A lot of my personality is a reflection of probably Mike and a lot of my uncles and cousins and family and friends. And would you say that a lot of your inviting nature and making people feel included is due to the fact that you grew up playing a lot of sports and had siblings?
Sports, yes. Siblings also, yes. And younger cousins, and always playing with the younger cousins. Well, including them in the like wrestling matches that we would have. And we needed younger cousins to pick on, I guess, also. So we included them, but in a way, it was, to pick on them and throw them around. But we're always together. I mean, we couldn't really leave our younger siblings or younger cousins behind, right? So that's why we included everybody, just because it was more fun, more the merrier.
I really appreciate and have adoration for the fact that you included me when I was a youngin' to all of your friends' parties when we're literally a decade separated from one another. So I had no idea what was going on. I've seen things that no 10-year-old should probably see, to be honest, but that's neither here nor there. I remember there was an example of Mike and his friends bringing me to a poker match, and I didn't know anything about poker. I still don't know how to play Texas Hold'em. and I showed off a Livestrong band. I didn't have a job in elementary school, and I had a yellow rubber band that I wrote Livestrong. I had a yellow rubber band that I wrote Livestrong on, and I got so much love from him and his friends. And I thought I was the coolest, 10 or 11-year-old out there. And thank you guys so much for showing love and, being so kind to me when other folks would, I'm not speaking generally, probably be mean or be like, why is this, youngin out here, not even a teenager out here?
That was before, or that was during the whole campaign, Livestrong campaign?
Yeah,
You
when
remember that?
he was winning all the
Okay.
the Tour de France.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, poker was fantastic back in the day.
I think that Mike is genuinely curious about a lot of things, and that's a big influence that he's had on my life because I personally want to know a lot about my job, someone's personal life, someone's professional life, obviously not in a snooping matter, but just in a very curious matter. Whenever I'm on social media, Mike is probably the first person to react, comment, and say what's up to me when I post something, so much love to him for consuming the content. But in all seriousness, I consider you a subject matter expert in all things sports. And does that lead to your curiosity?
Yeah, I guess you could say that. I think I just have a general, I guess you could say, curiosity with how people are doing, how people are living their lives, and what they do on a day-to-day basis, or if they've gone on vacation, what they do on vacation, right? Vacation is supposed to be fun, and it gives me good ideas of what to do whenever we're out and about also. So I think that's where that's from.
Do you think there's a memorable experience from your past that really made you so curious, not only through social media, but also in real life? Because it can't really compare the two. You're very, very curious, especially in real life when it comes to what someone's wearing, what someone's eating, what cologne they're using, or, just anything in general. You're very detail oriented, and I really appreciate that.
That comes up at work all the time when I notice really little things about people. But I think that stems from working at the YMCA, honestly, at the front desk, and it was a community center. People would come in and out, there to work out or drop their kids off at a sport, and I would have to notice, or I try to notice little things about people just because it, makes them feel good and keeps them coming back. It's almost like, honestly, it's like a sales tactic. If you notice that somebody got a haircut, they're going to want to come back because, somebody's commenting on their haircut. Yeah, I mean, it's not really a sales tactic that I use, but I am curious about what people are doing and how they're doing on a daily basis.
Yeah, I think the way you position yourself is so authentic and genuine that it never comes off as a sales tactic unless you're revealing to people that you use it as a sales tactic.
Not selling anything.
Mike said that he used to work at the YMCA, and that YMCA is walking distance from where we're recording this, from where we all went to school. And do you want to explain to the people your journey in patience? That's kind of the next topic I wanted to talk about because you have a lot of patience and consistency in your life, whether it's your wife, your family members, your day job, but also working at the Y and that whole journey to become an occupational therapist.
Yeah, the YMCA we're at the front desk, so we were the frontline staff, customer service. We would get praise, all the complaints, and we would have to fix those complaints and turn them into happy faces and happy customers, and that's where I learned a lot of my patience with members of the community not happy with services and just making them happy and turning them. I guess we learned it's just a customer service thing, and that's where that stemmed from. I believe.
I used to go to the YMCA and Mike was always at the front desk, and I would always be like, "What's up, Mike?" Now I know his sales tactic. Maybe he didn't really care about my haircut.
Always care about your haircut.
I think that the consistency and patience not only worked in your professional life, but it works in your personal life. Do you want to tell the story of how you met your wife and how long you guys been together?
Yes. 1999 in April, she just randomly approached, actually one of my friends in high school randomly approached me and said, "Hey, do you want to go to prom?" I was like, "Of course." I'm a sophomore. She was going to senior prom. So she pulled me aside, and then Tay came to ask me to her prom. I was a backup date, actually. So, yeah. So went to her prom. It was in May 22nd, 1999 was her prom. And
wow,
we've been together since. Actually, our official date of going out or going steady is June 19th, 1999. So we're going to be 25 years together this year.
25
years.
And that's why I really wanted to have you on the podcast. My friend Edgar that I had in the second podcast, shout out to Edgar. He's been with his lady for about 10 years. My brother and my sister-in-law have been together for about 15 years, but you got them beat almost a decade at 25 years.
25 years.
So what has your marriage taught you so far about patience and just thinking about that 1999 year compared to 2024 in the present?
Growth. I mean, we kind of pretty much just grew up together. We went through kind of different phases of our college lives together, or staggered really, because she was at college, before me 2 years, and we just evolved, and we were good about giving each other space when we needed space, as far as just school and just to focus on school, and that's helped a whole lot, or that did help a whole lot. But when we started living together, it was pretty seamless. It wasn't really anything too difficult. As long as you communicated with each other, that's the biggest thing.
Yeah, I definitely think that a lot of the patience and communication and growing up with one another shows that you guys really did grow with one another, being teenagers and 40 years old now. Don't want to age you or anything. And I admire the fact that you are very kind, patient, but also very direct. So how do you balance that? Is there ever an example of someone testing your patience? And what was the resolve in that situation for you to get over someone testing your patience?
I mean, besides Zane testing my patience every day.
Zane is his son.
Shout out Zane.
Shout out my
Zane
cousin.
Zane's my son. But I mean, work. I'm not gonna talk about one specific incident at work, but because I can't HIPAA.
We'll cut that out. Don't worry.
Anytime at work when there's a patient who's trying to refuse therapy or just not happy with what they're going through and trying to push us off, or hitting you or hitting somebody, that definitely always tests patience. But I mean, you have to understand that they're in a very critical situation in their lives, and put yourself in their position and kind of have to see what they're going through, and that's when it turns into you just be kind to them and hopefully turn that situation around. And most of the time it does.
Everyone fights their own battles, and I wanted to go into empathy. Do you want to share what you do as an OT, an occupational therapist, and how you need a lot of empathy for that job in specific, and how much you either enjoy your job or there's things that you would wish could be better in your job?
Yeah, so as an OT, we help people recover from injury or illness, help them regain independence and meaningful daily activities. And that could be as basic as just getting out of bed, sitting up, holding your head up, getting out of bed into a chair or on and off a toilet, dressing themselves. And that's kind of the core of what we do at the hospital. Yeah, I mean, it goes back to just understanding that these patients aren't going through a good time in their lives, right? And put yourselves in their shoes and make it known that you're feeling that you understand what they're going through, but you're there to help them and get their lives back on track. And I mean, again, usually it works. It usually works. I mean, sometimes it doesn't, but then you try again the following day.
You have such a mixture of patience, empathy, and I just wanted to ask you, how do you compose yourself on a daily basis when your job is very, very heavy sometimes, and sometimes you may be taking it home?
Perspective is key. Not taking things personal at work, knowing that it goes back to the patient's not being in a good place, and they're not really directing things towards you personally. They're really just not happy with what they're going through, and just knowing that that's not against you, and that helps a whole lot as far as not taking things home, and then kind of just stabilizing how I feel, really. Just, yeah.
I think that emotional stability is very, very important. Sometimes we may project our feelings from work or other stresses in our lives on those that we really love or care for. What are some things that you do in your life to practice your self-care or emotional regulation?
Well, usually, right, if something's not happened, or if I'm having a bad day at work, Tay's usually the first person to hear about it. Shout out, Tay. Thank you.
Shout out, Tay.
So that helps. I mean, you have to get it off your chest somehow, and having Tay there to just listen and give feedback when necessary is helps a whole lot. And then having Zane at home to help him with homework or help him practice his sport kind of just helped me disconnect from work and decompress. Or even just doing basic daily activity like washing dishes, laundry, is getting back to. I like to get it back to homeostasis, right? And you clean your clothes, fold them, put them away, do dishes, make sure the sink's clean. I mean, and it just stems from what my parents have taught me from growing up, things like that.
Yeah, thank you for sharing all of the techniques that you use to really help self-regulate and calm yourself. Calm yourself. Not saying it's not calm or anything. But in all seriousness, earlier you said that you use meditation apps before sleeping. And I tried meditation apps, whether it's Calm, whether
BetterHelp?
That's more therapy.
That is a therapy?
Yeah.
Shout out BetterHelp.
No, they're not cutting the check.
Okay,
so.
No.
So I personally use the meditation app Calm, but also Headspace. And those are really, really relaxing apps that you could use before sleeping at night. It's just someone speaking in monotone voice, essentially. But it's really, really relaxing. That way you're not doom scrolling through Instagram, etc. MySpace, if they have that. Maybe new bulletin notifications.
We're playing Pasoy online.
I guess we could talk about that too. Mike has a lot of passions, whether it's sports, food, and Pasoy, which is a Filipino card game. Do you want to let people know how much time you spend on your phone or any passions you have with sports or even food?
I mean, it's definitely more during football season, for sure, during fantasy season, because it's all fantasy all the time during the football season. But yeah, lately I've been playing this Pasoy Dos, and Tongits online. Not good.
Do you want to explain to the people what that is?
Pasoy is a card game. You get 4 players, or you get 13 cards, and you have to have it's called Good, Better, Best, where you have 3 cards that are, I guess you could say it's like Pai Gow, but with all the 13 cards. Good, Better, Best. You have your best 3 card hand, and then another 5 card hand below that, and then another 5 card hand below that. They're poker hands, really, and you have to beat the other players at their table. People play for fun, people play for money. I'm playing for fun on my phone, not for real money.
So it's kind of the Filipino version of poker, you would say?
Yeah, you could say Filipino poker. Yeah, you could say that. And then it's Pai Gow with more cards.
And if you could rank your sports team in your favorite order, what would they be?
Ooh, sports team favorite order. Say Niners, Warriors, Giants, then Sharks.
Heartbreaking,
Yeah.
but yes. Sharks probably last.
Right now they're alive. But Zane loves hockey right now, so we were watching hockey over Warriors, clutch games, and
Oh, wow.
yeah, and Sharks were low, but it's fun.
Yeah.
This was a oyster?
I'm okay
No,
right
no,
now.
thank you, Dad. You want to say what's up to the pod?
You wanna say hi?
Okay.
Come in.
They can't. I don't know if they can see you. All right.
Who's that? Oh, shit.
Yeah.
It's okay.
All right.
We'll put you in.
We'll put you in,
We're
Dad.
gonna get you in.
Yeah.
It's okay.
All right. Thank you.
Is that an oyster?
No, maybe
No,
later.
okay.
Thank you, though.
At what time?
Uh,
I still have some in the freezer.
no,
no,
not
it's
sure
okay.
yet. It's okay.
It's okay.
Thank you.
Don't worry. I'm
Yeah.
on a diet. I'm on an oyster
Yeah,
diet.
we're on a diet.
Non-oyster
No
diet.
oyster diet. Yeah. It's okay. Yeah, shout out my dad
Yeah.
for making a guest
Always
appearance.
offering food. I came here. His mom asked if I wanted food. No, thank you.
The recording studio is my parents' house, so shout out to my parents and my
Yeah,
dad
no, for
specifically
sure.
for offering us oysters. But
I used to call your dad Uncle Gadget.
really?
Yeah.
Oh, I think I remember that.
Yeah, because he fixed everything. Well, and then Inspector Gadget was hot back then.
You call him Uncle Oyster now because he
No.
offers people oysters. I had oysters for lunch with them earlier, so
Oh, really?
I guess they're offering it to everyone again.
What kind of oysters?
I don't know. I don't know.
Cooked or raw?
I think they're
Usually
cooked.
cooked.
Yeah. I totally forgot what we were talking about. So sports. You're talking
Sports,
about sports.
yeah. Sharks low right now, but they're gonna hopefully get the first pick in the draft.
So you said you're into fantasy football, and a lot of my uncles, your cousins in specific, not necessarily blood related, but Filipino related, meaning we're just really close family friends. what is a tradition that you have? Because I think that really is a testament to the consistency in your life over the years.
Tradition regarding fantasy football?
Yes,
Or,
because I think, don't you guys have a league that's like been
we have
forever?
a league. Yeah, it's a league that's been 15 or 16 years strong right now. Uh, I'm the commissioner. I've been the commissioner for a good 10 years. But every week I do a recap on Monday after Monday Night Football, and it calls out, the team of the week, player of the week, game of the week, and it's actually almost like a pod, but on the Yahoo Sports app. Yeah, and it's a fun way to just get banter out, and yeah, that's what football's about.
I love that because you're so passionate about sports and even putting out a report
It is
in your
yeah,
free
I love
time.
doing it. I love doing it.
So if you weren't an occupational therapist, what do you think you would be?
I always say that I think I'd be a really good waiter because
Okay. That's, okay. I wasn't thinking that.
yeah,
but-
nobody ever thinks that. I could remember orders, just be personable, not take things personally.
You said you like washing dishes too
I
earlier.
love washing
so
dishes. Yeah, I start off as a busboy. I'll start off at that.
Maybe you'll never become a waiter because you just like washing the
Right.
dishes so much.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I think I'd be a really good waiter, or even just a bartender. Some of that, that you can just someone can come talk to and just get stuff off their chest, I guess.
So would you consider yourself an introvert or an extrovert?
I'm an extrovert.
Mm,
Yeah,
yeah.
I think so for sure. I mean, I'll just randomly wave at people driving sometimes just because I think they're somebody I know, and then Zane's like, "Do you know that person?" No, just wave. Or even people crossing the street, walking in the hospital, just say hi, get to know people.
Thank you for sharing that because I've always thought of you as a rock in my life, whether it's an uncle, you, my Emil, my Uncle Erwin, my Uncle Gabe, my Uncle Ron, Matt, Arnell, Leo, everyone else.
Shout out.
Those are all guests that we have to have on the podcast, but I
Yeah.
truly mean that. Not only for me, but talking to your sister or other family members, I
Mhm.
always look to you as someone that's really strong, and you're the oldest of your 3 siblings. And what do you think is something that helped ground you when you were all younger and made you to who you are today?
Just seeing how hard my parents worked, or even my grandparents worked at keeping a roof over our head, keeping food on on the table, or food in the freezer. uh,
They probably still have some from back in the day, 10 years ago. No, I'm just kidding.
Probably. They have 2 freezers now. But yeah, no, my mom worked 2 jobs. After my dad retired from the Navy, was working still. He worked graveyard. Just seeing how hard they worked kind of motivated me to just kind of be there for my siblings and work hard too and lead by example.
So do you have any goals as an occupational therapist, but also as a father and a husband?
Yeah, I mean, growing at work is always welcome. I mean, I started on a new unit 8 months ago. It's a lot of new learning, difficult at times for sure. But and then as a parent, just teaching Zane how to be empathetic, curious, and the other 2 that I can't remember right now.
He's using the outline. He's still Adoration with Mike Nunez podcast coming soon.
Yeah, just making sure Zane is a good human, really, and I definitely see that at times, but I mean, he's a kid, so I always have to tell myself, or actually Tate tells me, he's still a kid, but, you want your kid to grow up as a respectful human being, yeah.
I think you're a great example of a human being, especially for Zane, because I technically looked up to you, especially, and all of my other uncles as great examples, even though you guys were doing some crazy things. It's made me so...
Stop saying that.
It's made me the person I am today, and I'm very grateful and thankful for people like you in my life. And I have a lot of friends that are aspiring to be occupational therapists or just better human beings, including myself. Not necessarily occupational therapist, but a better person in my life. And is there any tips that you have for someone that's aspiring to be an OT or just a better person?
Don't be afraid to go into things that you're really uncomfortable with, going into. I mean, you can get complacent, and that's kind of the easy way to go, right? and do things. Is you do things that you're used to doing. So yeah, if you want to be an OT, do it. Just jump into it. We need more.
I think people tend to like to put one another in a box. Oh, he only likes the 49ers. No, he's a human being. But in all seriousness, people always tend to put someone in a box, whether it's their profession or what they see on social media or one action that they did. I think it's a recency bias that if they only are one profession, they can only do that. They're too old. They're not able to do that. But what Mike said is really, really important because for me personally, I always try to get out of my comfort zone, and even putting myself out there through social media and content is one of the ways where I truly became a little more extroverted versus introverted, and my uncle's really made that. Mike is really someone that brings out the best in me, and I wanted to bring him on this podcast because he's a true testament of someone that I want to be in the future. And is there anything else you wanted to say to the people?
Thank you for having me.
Oysters are downstairs too.
Oysters are downstairs, raw or cooked. But no, thanks for having me. You're younger than me by 10 years, right? Maybe some change, but all the things you're doing, we're so proud of you.
Thank you.
It's very awesome to see that you've grown into a very mature man. I mean, I remember when you busted out the drums.
Oh man! So
right? You would, yeah. AJ's gone through drumming. AJ, DJ AJ, Dapper Goods AJ, Dapper Goods. This is his line. We got to bring that back somehow.
yeah, so I used to have a clothing brand called Dapper Goods when I was in high school with my friends, and we didn't really take it that seriously, but that was a really good learning for us, and it kind of helps me to this day because, like Mike said, I've had a lot of interests and passions, and I'm glad that he lets his son Zane choose what sport he wants to explore and really what his passion is and where his interests lay. For me, my parents never really brought me to the YMCA. I had to go there myself. They'd never really let me interact with other kids, so I interacted with my 10-plus year older uncles. So I got into the DJing and partying scene and entertainment scene a lot. And I was a true introvert that became a little bit more of an extrovert based on Mike and his extroversion and friendliness and inclusion. I think that we just go through a lot of phases in our lives. I never really had that sports team or camaraderie with other people, and that's why I use this platform to really connect one-on-one because I'm so introverted and I'm like an extreme hermit. I've gotten better, and this is my comfort space to really connect with someone and have my content be a little more serious versus just fashion, just DJing, and just entertainment. It's really a substance and conversation that I typically have in real life, but obviously everything we talk about in real life is not just serious. We don't just talk about intention, curiosity, patience, and empathy all day. We talk about sports too.
Yeah, it's mainly sports or food.
The content, the YouTube and everything else is really my sports team and my community, and I'm glad that you could be a part of it and share your wisdom and thoughts with our audience. And I think you put so much effort into everything in your life, whether it's your family, your friends, your work, and even fantasy football. It's a true testament to you being a great example of someone that's really passionate, empathetic, direct, but also curious. And I try to be like you, like I said earlier, in a lot of aspects of my life. I just wanted to thank you so much for hopping on the pod. This is Mike Nunez. My name's AJ. This is the Adoration podcast. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.
Bye.
Thank you for hopping on, man. I appreciate you.
Dude, that's awesome.
That was fun, man.
Yeah, dude.